Welcome, everybody, to Uncluttered and Unfiltered with Eden and Christine. And I'm going to start with a little bit of a disclaimer. As you can hear, have some laryngitis and a cough. So we're going to muddle through. I have my ginger tea.
Oh.
So
I'll be
fine.
talking more, which
is fine because that's what we're all here for anyway, isn't it? So how was your weekend? And let's talk about what has happened in your life since I last saw you.
Well, my grandbaby came to visit, first of all, and my son-in-law and my daughter. So it's always enjoyable. I got to babysit, so I enjoyed it.
You're getting a lot of good time with them. I'm impressed by the fact that they're willing to pack up the family and come to you as much as they do.
Very impressed, because as a mom, I know how hard that is.
It's very hard.
It's very hard.
Just the best grandparents ever.
And I love that they get to go out and spend some time alone. You know what I mean? And then I get to spend time alone with him, and I feel like it gives us time to get to know him as well, and him get to know us. So I love that. But on Sunday, I had to do a colonoscopy prep.
The colonoscopy prep.
And I tried to reschedule it, but they were so booked out like 3 or 4 months because their trip to come was kind of last minute. But they were leaving at noon anyway. So I decided I'm just going to keep it since I can't reschedule it. But anyway, I am here talking about it.
And did they tell you you're clean as a whistle?
I'm clean as a whistle, minus a few polyps that were removed.
Which is why we do this.
Which is why we do this. My aunt died of colon cancer at the age of 50, and it runs genetically in my family. My mother got genetic testing, and the colon cancer gene runs in my family. So I have to go every 3 years, but it's funny. I now said at 61, I almost look forward to it because it's like doing a cleanse.
Yes, I agree with you.
And you get the propofol when they put you out, and it's like the best sleep you've ever had. So it's weird.
It's a spa visit, frankly.
It's like a spa visit, because when you wake up, you're totally back to normal and you feel great. So I think the older you get, you got to do it.
So you may as well appreciate it.
You may as well appreciate it. And also, look on the bright side of things, which is,
you have to get it done.
Yeah.
You don't get it done to only diagnose. You get it done to prevent. Because when they remove those polyps, they're doing that.
Right.
Because they're potentially
precancerous. Yes.
So that's the thing. And that's what I'm still continually trying to work on my husband for. Now, let me ask you this. Did you weigh yourself before and after the prep?
Well, here's the good thing, ladies. They weighed me right before they take you to the room. I mean, you would not believe how much weight you lose by doing one of these preps. I was like, dang. But yes. And then, of course, the minute I got home, I was famished because I hadn't eaten in like 2 days. So anyway, but it's so important to get. I mean, no one looks forward to it. And when I was younger, I have to be honest, I dreaded it. I was like, oh my God, I can't. Now I do feel like I'm lucky enough that like you said, it's a preventative and it's helping prevent me from getting colon cancer. So you have to do it. I do it. And like I said, I now see the benefits to it in all kinds of different ways.
Look on the sunny side. Look on the sunny side. Now that little piece about weighing, that's actually something I kind of was on the fence about bringing up. And I think I will, just because we just talked about that. When I said, did you weigh yourself before and after? I'm not trying to create some kind of a weight shaming. In this generation, you can't talk about such things.
Okay.
And did you know that? Like, you can't talk about what somebody weighs, or you can't talk
you're
about.
The one that tells me what is going on in the world when it comes to even thirst trap. I didn't know what that was. So yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. So for me, I'm very adamant that people should love the body they're in, do what you want to do to be healthier, not necessarily, shouldn't matter. Like, it's not about what you see in the mirror. So I'm not trying to elevate the whole diet culture by any means, but my husband and I were watching Shark Tank last night. And it was from this last week. And one of the products on there was a chocolate bar, and it had the calories, because it's like a halo top that had the calories on the front in big letters. And it said 190 calories for the whole bar. And one of the sharks, she was a guest shark, said, today's Gen Z and millennials will not like this because that is toxic diet culture to put the amount of calories on the front of the candy bar.
I had no idea.
And I didn't either. And I thought, really?
Wow.
Because that is exactly why I like that Halo Top ice
Oh, I
cream.
love
I'm
that
like,
Halo
it says
Top.
150 calories.
I
for the whole
love
pint.
it.
So I don't know. I thought that was interesting
That
how
is.
different generations, but again, I get it because, and I say this with all of her permission in the world, but my daughter went through some disordered eating issues when she was away at school. So I understand where you want to make sure the focus isn't on those things. But at the same time, I had no idea that putting the calories in large block letters on a food that is proud of the fact that
they're low calorie. Yeah.
Could make Gen Z and millennials so mad that they wouldn't buy it.
No idea. None.
See, that's why we have to have our own podcast because we can admit to not knowing things.
I really didn't know that. I guess I only pay attention to what I need to pay attention to with work because I'm so busy with work and, prepping for podcasts and stuff like that, that on my free time, I'm always watching like, Netflix shows or, I'm doing other things. I'm not on pop culture so much anymore because I'm really over 60 and I'm not really in the pop culture of things. So,
well, the other part of it too is that how do you know anymore? I used to say like, how did they not know that was problematic when he or she said that?
Right.
It's so obvious, but things aren't as obvious anymore.
No.
Like you can really step in it.
Well, especially social media, because if you're not on it, literally 24/7 because trending and things happen so quickly from day to day. So if you're not on it 24/7, you're going to miss what's proper and what's not proper and who's calling who out on what. So I really don't have time to be doing that 24/7. So that's where I have you who fills me in. And speaking of you, what did you do this weekend?
So I ran a little bit. And had a girl trip. I have just returned from Chicago where I participated in the Chicago Marathon, finished it.
Wow.
It was a great time. And I have to say, I feel like it's important that I say this. There was only one thing that was not perfect about the whole weekend. And that was that one of my girlfriends that was supposed to make the trip had an injury and could not join us. So she was sorely, sorely missed. But outside of that, all things considered, it was a phenomenal weekend of,
and that's why she's sick. No.
Yeah, probably. Your defenses go down.
You go on airplanes,
Yes, yeah. All the airplane really is a big thing, but it was a really phenomenal weekend. I felt fantastic. This is my third marathon.
Unbelievable.
I don't try to bore people with all of the details because runners can talk for days. And so the two ladies that I roomed with, we love how runners will talk about poop and pee. Like it's just, what did you have for lunch today? It's nothing you can meet someone and within 5 minutes you're talking about this.
That's so funny.
But we went and bought a little spray bottle of poo-pourri at the drugstore, and it was birthday cake flavored. So the whole weekend, every time somebody had to use the bathroom, it was, I'm going to go make birthday cake, or I'm going to go have some birthday cake. And so, when you get three runners together in a room, there's a lot of talk about that. The girl talks a little bit different is what I'm getting at.
Ooh.
So it's a little bit different. So that's why I say, I don't try to talk too much in depth about the actual marathon. What I will say about it is that it was a lovely girl trip. I felt very happy and positive and healthy. And
I haven't shared a room
with another woman.
And I can't tell you how long. That makes me laugh so hard. I can't, even if I go on a trip with another woman, we generally have separate rooms just because you know me, I go to bed so early. I'm probably the worst girls weekend girl you could go with just because I'm such a go to bed early, wake up super early. Like I get up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock, no matter what. And it's probably because I go to bed so early.
Well, we had originally planned for 2 rooms because there were 4 of us. And when one couldn't go, now it was 3 in a room. So we even shared a bed.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But
wow.
We're talking about melatonin and bed by 8:30. We're running a marathon while we're there. So we're not going to be out late partying. It's not the same trip as going to, the wine country. So it was really, really fun though.
But I just need someone who will watch the crime shows and not everyone's into it.
You know what we did do? and we're going to talk about this now. We watched The Golden Bachelor. So after the race, we're back in the room, laying in the bed, feeling like we can't do much of anything else. And I said, this would be a good time for me to get caught up. I need to watch The Golden Bachelor so that I'm ready to discuss with Christine. And I will tell you the honest truth. When it started, I was dreading it. I was like, I can't sit through this again. I can't do it.
Right.
And even the first half hour, I couldn't wait for it to be over. I was like, this is brutal. I feel like I'm being punished. When it was over, I was ready for next week. I just was like, I got it. I'm in it. I have to see what's going to happen. I'm invested. So tell me your thoughts and I'll tell you where I agree or disagree.
Okay. So,
and this, by the way, is just a prelude to our real topic.
Yes. Okay. So how I do this every week is I take my notes, because if not, I won't remember from week to week. So I'm going to start off with the women. Okay. Some of them, I find it a little bizarre. They don't get shown at all, but they're still on there. So I'm a little confused by that. So, and the reason why I know is because once each woman's on, I write, what they said or what transpired. So Ellen, the one who, as we can all remember, who who did this because of her friend who was dying of cancer. They had her on. She got a one-on-one time with him, and we learned she had a master's degree, and he gave her the picture of them framed, and she was crying and so emotional that he took all the time out to have this picture framed to give to her. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking he did not.
The producers,
this is all scripted. Okay.
Right.
And so it shows their age in that way too, to believe that he really did that.
Yes.
But I do, and I've had her as a front runner since the first episode.
You have?
Oh yeah, I have her as a front runner. Then you have Leslie. She's a trip. She was the fitness instructor, and she's the one that was really bummed out that someone took her 70s or hippies outfit.
Yes. She was having kind of a little tantrum.
She was kind of really overly upset about that, I thought. And I thought that whole idea of dressing up and taking pictures was so silly that I really didn't even understand the importance of that. Mm-hmm. So that kind of really turned me off.
I guess that photographer is in a lot of the different Bachelor stuff, because they referenced him like everybody knows him. And so I was like, I'm not me. I don't know.
I just thought dressing up in costumes, I don't see how you really get to know someone that way. And I feel like some of these women have had no time. But anyway,
I think part of that is to make them have to fight over something.
Right.
Give them something.
Right. That was some drama, you know. I like how, though, Leslie admitted she wears hearing aids too, because you never heard about that or saw that. And that made me think, and I wrote this down, it's interesting when a man is 71 and he's dating someone no younger than 60, that shows you how in common you do have with women, instead of if he were dating a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old. I think that's what I love about this now is the truth and reality coming out in it. So that I really love, because I didn't even see that coming with her. I have to be honest. She had long hair.
She had long hair.
Yeah. Okay. Joan. She's a very beautiful blonde. We found out this week that she is a widow, which I didn't know that either. I may have slightly heard that, but didn't really get it. And she was sitting on the bunk bed with him, and she was upset. And I now think she may be a top runner, and I didn't have her in the first week, but I think she may be in it.
Now, she's not the one who cried over the wedding dress, right?
No, that's a different one.
A different widow, a third widow.
See, this week I felt like the widows came out, and it's different than when you're divorced. These women were married a long time. They loved their husbands, and I think they never saw themselves moving on. And somebody prodded them to do this since they've been widowed for so many years. It's not like a year ago.
Yeah.
That warmed my heart this week to see how many women were still very emotionally touched to the man who they were married to and they loved and died. And it kind of got me to see him be able to look at someone else's feelings besides his own being a widow and have compassion for these other women. So I think she may be in the top. Just my thoughts. She's beautiful, by the way. We know Natasha is out, but you got to love when she said, please, for the love of God.
She was so funny. What was she saying at the end? It was about
bring
the
chairs to the rose ceremonies.
Yes.
It's hard to stand. We're in the Golden Bachelor.
Yes.
You know, the women are in heels. They're not used to being in heels. So I loved her, but she's out. Okay, let's talk about Kathy. The crazy, I call her the crazy one. She's 70. She, to me, is so super annoying, but they keep her on, I think, for drama.
I'm not sure. There seems to be a little sparkle to her now. This episode, I kind of got a big kick out of her. And yes, I do think they kept her on for drama, but I think something hilarious, like you said, but I think I'm seconding what you're saying. I think something very funny and endearing is going to happen with her to explain why she's still there, because
other than that, she's so annoying.
She's such a whiner.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Nancy is the bride, the dress,
yes.
and she's also the one who has the hearing aids. And which I love this. It just like that warmed my heart that people were just being so honest about who they really are. She's the one who put the wedding dress on and was crying. And I have to say, I felt for her a lot, and I didn't think that she would like kind of connect in any way with him, because I think she was very, very, very still emotionally upset. Right. But I think he gives women everything they want. Undivided attention, looks in their eyes, hangs on their every single word.
Yes.
And it just draws these women in. I mean, draws them in
and you would think his hugs were
gold.
Greatest elixir in the world. Can I give you a hug? Yes.
Yep.
Yes, Gary. A hug would be fantastic.
And she got the rose. So I think that showed something that he was able to connect with her in the widow way and have compassion for her. And I think she started to really fall for him. Okay, Teresa.
She was the first one, right?
She's the first one. She got the dinner date with the convertible, which let's just talk about the convertible where he couldn't figure out how to drive at night and the lights were blinking, and he's never driven in California before, which you got to say, that's one brave man. I mean, California driving during the day is brutal, let alone at night.
He's out there at night. Can't see. Lights aren't working.
He goes, I have trouble seeing distances at night.
This is how
I'm in a convertible. And I laugh so hard because I don't know about you. Well, you're funny. You're more like you probably love a convertible. If I went on a date in a convertible with this hair, I'd be like, are you kidding me?
I thought of you when her hair was flying all around. Two things. One, it's always the people who have the great hair that'll settle right back down like hers did.
Right.
That don't care.
Right.
But for me, I would laugh it off. You're right. But my hair would be sticking straight out the whole rest of the night.
I just thought the whole thing was so staged from the car. They were both wearing blue. I don't know if anyone noticed that. Like they matched the car. They matched each other. Then they went to the diner, which by the way, I absolutely loved this diner. When I was in Nashville for my birthday, I went to something similar where during each course you get up and dance to 60s and 70s music. It was so much fun. I can't even tell you. So I love the diner. I was talking to you prior to this. If I hear that Journey song, I mean, all right, it was in The Sopranos. I loved it. Great. How many times do we have to hear Don't Stop Believing?
Well, and then they wove it into the conversation, which was like, what?
Yeah.
Listen, if you can't get past the cringy moments, you can't watch it. And I couldn't at first. And then something just clicked in me where I was like, I'm going to lap this up like milk. I just have to, for two reasons. One, because I so enjoy your take on it and I want to be caught up, but also because they have done what they set out to do, which is ensnare me and the drama of it all.
Right.
and I want to know who's staying. Now, Edith is one they are hiding for some reason. And
I know. Why are they hiding Edith?
Because I think that they're going to bring her out in some big way. She's that beautiful silver-haired woman that was like the first one out of the limos.
With the gold dress.
Gorgeous.
Stunning. Well, here's the thing. After their date, though, at the diner, I have to say I was shocked. I think they had a weird connection.
Like yes.
And I think we saw her in a totally different light. Like, I originally was like, I think she's on just because the producers, but now I got to see her differently. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I liked her.
April, I call her the chicken lady.
She is the chicken lady.
I also think she's just on there
but she's beautiful.
She's very beautiful. I just don't see him picking someone like her. I mean, I just was kind of surprised she got a rose. I really didn't think she'd get one, but okay. We're back to Susan, who looks like China. I call her like China.
The wrestler.
Yeah, the wrestler.
Yes, very tall.
And she's so sweet. I mean, she's so sweet. I like her personality. I don't think he'll pick someone like her, though.
She's very boisterous.
Yes. I think that she's definitely not his type. So I predict she'll either go out next week or definitely the following week.
I think he's going for somebody very sweet. And she is just sassy enough, like she was doing the curls for Teresa. Right. And Teresa said, could you curl inwards? And she says, I've been doing this for how many years?
35 years.
She's definitely, I'm going to tell it like it is, woman, which is fine. But I just don't. He doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. Now, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
How long before we start seeing Viagra on the show? Because I feel like they're going to go there somehow where we're going to hear about it.
I think the women will do Viagra references. I don't think he'll ever talk about that.
Okay. I was just curious.
I don't think he comes off as crude or...
Well, that's just it. I'm not necessarily thinking it would be so crude. I'm just wondering if they were going to have some product placement. That would be ideal for them.
Maybe in a commercial, like like doing commercials.
I think they're going to weasel their way in somehow.
I don't think there will be a fantasy suite.
No?
I just don't.
Okay.
I think they'll call it something else, like, old folks home or something. Okay. I don't know. They'll call it a different name. Because...
What could they call it if it's not the fantasy suite? Maybe it's the... no, I was going to say like the chill zone or something, but I don't know. I think they're going to go for it with the fantasy suite. I really do.
Really?
I do.
But what would the fantasy suite entail for a 71-year-old man?
It would be a glass of wine and we're going to bed.
That's what I mean. Like, that's what I mean. So I don't know. I think at his age, you have to remember he's old school. So he isn't going to want to embarrass a woman.
And his daughters are involved.
His daughters and granddaughters are involved. I think this is going to stay clean.
I hope you're right.
I really do.
I do. I'm not trying to be prude, but I really hope you're right because that would give me the icks. I don't like that about the regular version of the show.
Yeah, it's not going to. I don't think it will. Faith, rumor has it.
You can say it.
Okay. Well, this is what rumor has, that she doesn't stay around. And we kind of got a glimpse of that in the previews, that she's going to leave.
Yeah, they did make it seem like, but they are very good about making previews deceptive. So, but they did make it seem like she's the one who's like, I just can't do this anymore.
Wait, was it Faith? Yeah.
Is she the guitar lady? She's a radio personality.
Yes, she's the guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll see. I did have her as the top pick, so that bummed me out.
Right.
Or as one of the top picks. And what I did notice this week, I'm going to always recap what I did notice. The women are so nice to each other. It's so refreshing from the original Bachelor and Bachelorette. I just think they are so looking to find friends, not really as much love with Gary as finding more female friendships. They're so kind to each other thus far.
I'm starting to think they are all in it for what the hell else do I have to lose? Let me go for it. But, I don't know if I ever told you this, but I was at the dog park recently and a lady was there filling out the application on her phone for the Golden Bachelor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was, this was months and months ago, obviously. And she started a conversation with me and she was in the middle of filling out an application. So I think that there are a lot of women out there that would say, what else do I have to lose? Let me just apply.
Well, what I liked also about this week is people showed their emotions. There were more widows than I had anticipated. And I kind of got the idea of when you've been in a really, really wonderful, long-term, happy marriage and your spouse dies, that it's different. It's different.
Yeah.
It's different trying to find love again. Do you want to find love again? And I think the notion that lately in the whole dating app world is all men suck. You know, and I think Gary personally is showing not all men suck.
Yes.
The dating apps suck. Okay. That's what I think just from hearing from people that are on them. And so people generalize that all men suck. I think organically, I know a lot of friends who have found people organically and the men are lovely. So,
well, particularly if you think about a man who has raised daughters.
Yes.
Because now he's got a completely different perspective than a 30-year-old guy that's out there that has never been the father of a daughter and never, or even a son for that matter, where you have to instruct your son how to respect women. So I think that there's definitely not just wisdom, but also some experience and empathy that comes with age.
And I mean, there are good guys out there. You just have to put yourself out there. They're not going to come knocking on your door at your house. That's not happening. So saying yes to things you may not even want to go to or do, you never, ever know who you will meet.
Well, I have now seen the light on The Golden Bachelor.
There you go.
And I also want to tell everybody who's still with us that isn't watching and is like, well, I was promised an episode on, things you weren't expecting to happen after you turn 50. We're about to transition into that.
Yes.
Whether you listen to us speaking very quickly, like in this, I wonder sometimes, like, do people speed us up to get through the parts that they don't, care to hear? But we appreciate that you're still with us, even though you're not watching The Golden Bachelor. So thanks to everybody. Hopefully,
I think a lot of people really are like you, where it's shockingly, surprisingly something they're looking forward to every week.
I'm looking forward to it every week. I think I'd prefer to watch it live knowing everybody else is watching it too, but that's just not always possible.
No.
So the question was, and we asked this question over on our Facebook page in our Uncluttered and Unfiltered Ladies Only group. It was, what is something unexpected that has happened for you or to you after turning 50? And it could have been good. It could have been bad. We were looking for different things. And was there anything in the comments that stood out to you before we take a listen to some of our voicemails? Was there anything in those Facebook comments that you were just like blown away by?
Well, you know what? Actually, in those comments, I had already made my list and there were so many relatable things that I'd already written. So I feel a connection, to the women on the group, the women's only group, because I read what they say and I go, I already had that on my list.
So the first one we're going to listen to, this is, and we've said before, we have this voicemail that's very, very easy to use. Trust us. I sent it to Christine, this little app, when we first found it. And I said, you're the one who says you don't want to do anything complicated on tech. So is this easy to use? And she sent me a voicemail immediately saying, no, I like it.
Yes.
It's fine.
Yes.
So first, just to show you how differently everyone experiences their 50s and above, here's the first voicemail I listened to this morning.
Hey, Christine and Eden. Something that I would describe as unexpected actually has happened this year, and that is unexpectedly gaining that belly fat, which in my whole life I've never had, having a very difficult time trying to figure out how to get rid of it, it's just frustrating. Whatever I do, now they tell me that cardio doesn't help that because it actually increases your cortisol levels. So I'm trying to research how the heck to get rid of this. And it's just frustrating, but I will figure it out. I'll let you know. Have a great one.
Well, anything we can do to help in that process.
I relate to that.
We'll get a physician in here and we'll find out about cortisol levels and things like that as you age. But
that's why I have my unitard suit that I wear, because it sucks in everything. I relate to her. I think after 50, you notice the midsection changes. It's hormones, related to hormones.
But here's Amy with the flip side of that.
Uh-oh.
Hi, this is Amy, and I am 52 years old. And I love this question because I learned after the age of 50 that it was not too late. I had given up on myself as far as my health and my physical fitness and my weight. And I just never thought at 52 that I would be in the best shape of my life, have lost 70 pounds, and I now have a very happy and positive outlook on my future as far as my health goes. I want to be able to live in my 50s and 60s and not feel like an old person. So that's what I was very unexpected, but so grateful and thankful for it.
Yay, Amy.
Yay, Amy. That's amazing.
Yay.
And we got to see some pictures that went along with that.
Yes.
It's been a remarkable transformation. So what are your unexpected things?
Okay. The first thing, and we've talked about this on this podcast before, and you and I have talked about this privately, is you feel invisible. Once you hit a certain age, you used to be able to go to the grocery store and, maybe get a little bit of someone trying to flirt with you or a look or something. I mean, I'm sorry. It just doesn't happen. I mean,
it's hard to almost define what that feels like or what it means, because when you tell a man or somebody younger, they might say, well, what is it exactly you're seeking? Why do you feel like you need that? It's this very vague, intangible, and invisible is just the best description.
It really is. It's like you said, it's hard to describe. And you really only notice it when you notice it. Like, it's hard to explain it. But I think good news is, I think with all the women over 50 in social media, we're becoming a little less invisible. So I'm encouraged. I'm really encouraged.
Well. And I'm happy to be a part of the
change
movement.
Yep. Looking in the mirror as you age, I think that has been the toughest thing out of everything, because you can't deny what you're looking at. So whether it's a new wrinkle, a new gray hair in places you didn't think, so many things start to change and shift. I try not to look in the magnifying mirror unless I have to pluck my eyebrows. You know what I mean? Because that can be that could start off your day just in a crap way.
Yep.
So I try to leave that to when, you have to pluck one here or there, but, or putting makeup on, mascara, whatever. But don't you think when you get up and you look in the mirror?
My problem is that I really need glasses all the time. I can't wear contacts. Need glasses all the time. But when I'm wearing them, I see myself in like HD and I'm like, oh, because I'm so used to seeing myself nearsighted that I can't see all of those wrinkles and lines. So photos always shock me because I don't see that when I look in the mirror because my vision is impaired. So when I see it in a photograph and there it is, I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize I had all of those wrinkles because I literally see myself with a walking filter over my eyes.
See, I wear contacts, so I have a very, very clear filter all the time. So maybe I should stop wearing contacts. I don't know. Maybe that's an idea.
It's kind of nice. What else do you have?
Well, aches and pains and how long it takes to recover. And you as a runner could vouch for that. When you're 25, 35, even 45, if you sprain your ankle or tear a tendon or break your arm, whatever it may be, as you get older, everything takes longer to heal and repair. Even if it's something like very minute, like you burn yourself on the oven or something. It's God almighty, this is taking forever.
I still have a scratch from like 3 months ago from the dog.
Right.
What's going on there?
Like because your skin doesn't turn over as fast anymore. Turnover. And so that's another thing I notice. But now I'm not going to be all negative because I was very shocked after the age of 50 to have a very successful career. If you would have told me that in my 30s, I would have been like, you're crazy. So I do think that was very pleasantly, not shocking, but surprising for me that I'd still be going at 61 and running a company and being, a successful professional organizer. So I don't think age has anything to do if you're passionate about what you do for your job.
Mm-hmm. I like that a lot. There's definitely a different feeling when you are the youngest in your company and when you are the oldest. And I have now been both. And, you feel like this prodigy and people are like, and she's only blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But then all of a sudden people stop mentioning how old
Right.
they are. So one of the things, pardon me, I'm repressing my cough. One of the things that surprised me that was unexpected is I really didn't think, and we covered a lot of this in a past episode, that I'd still worry so much about my kids, like what they're doing, what they're up to on a regular basis. Are they happy? Not just what they're up to, but their emotions. I didn't think I'd still worry about, like, is she stressed? Is he nervous? Like what, I still feel those feelings.
Well, guess what? I'm 61. And this past weekend, I would say to my daughter, honey, you're going to hurt yourself. Don't, not about the baby. More, I'm still like babying my baby. You know what I mean?
So it doesn't go away.
It never goes away.
That was unexpected, though, I will say.
Yeah,
I thought there'd be
never goes away.
The other thing, and I had down the slow recovery too, but on the flip side of that, I was not expecting to worry less. I thought because my grandmother was such a worrier, my mom is kind of a worrier, I thought I'd get even more, I'd lean into that even more, but I find I worry much less. I'm constantly telling people, with good intentions, there'll be a good outcome, or that's going to work itself out. I have seen enough happy endings to what seem to be impossible situations in my life to know that worrying about something that likely will never happen is a giant waste of time. And so I feel like I wasn't expecting to ever get there. And one day I woke up and I was able to just shake it off.
Well, they do say most of the stuff you worry about never even happens. So it's such a waste of time when we don't know when our time is up. So to spend it worrying constantly about things that never even take place. I think with social media, though, everybody worries about everything now because you see everything you never saw before. When we were younger, we didn't have social media, even when we were raising kids. So we didn't have to worry about stuff all the time because we didn't hear about it or see it. Also, science has come a long way. They didn't have genetic testing for every little thing. Now they do. Times have changed, though. I think that causes a little more worry, at least for me. But I believe, like what you said, it's half the stuff never is going to happen. So why waste your time?
The other thing I didn't expect was to be suddenly so worried about what was going on the Golden Bachelor, like the fact that they're all widows. Seriously, I'm like, what would I do? And I don't want to put this even in the universe, but honestly, and I know we have some women that are listening that are there, and we're so terribly sorry. But I really don't spend a lot of time worrying about that. But just since watching that episode of The Golden Bachelor, all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, none of these women ever thought that they would be in that.
Well, I always
club.
say my brain's like a computer. I can only hold so much information. So I spit out what I can't deal with. So I can't even go down that road. Yes, it has brought up feelings though, watching The Golden Bachelor. I know listen, I have friends who are widowed and I hate when people say time heals. I don't think you ever heal. You just try to find a new normal. Mm-hmm. I think you find a new normal. And so it's something nobody wants to think about because who wants to think about that? So,
but here I am on talking out of one side of my mouth saying I worry less. And on the other side of my mouth, I'm like, but what if? So that's just, that's just life.
Yeah, it really is.
Life.
You can't predict what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Another good thing is I have made so many new friends in my 50s and early 60s that are really good friends that make me laugh, that I have fun with. And I never really thought I'd be making a whole new batch of friendships, like brand new. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying hanging out with different personalities and different phases of life that I'm in. And I feel you kind of hang out with people who you have things in common with. And once you're over 50, you kind of need that. Your friends become very, very important in your life. So that's a plus.
But that can become the commonality. So whereas like when you're in your 40s, everybody is doing their deal, living their lives, and you don't really come into contact with people that are doing very, very different things than you're doing. But once you're over 50, you instantly have that common bond. Not that you didn't 10 years ago, you were the same age then as the other person. But for some reason, all of a sudden, you have a lot of the same challenges. You have a lot of the same, landmarks in your life, milestones you're hitting.
Right.
I think we've heard this many times in our ladies only group on Facebook, that it's just about finding, we have it's kind of funny. We have a few subgroups. Somebody posted the other day, does anybody have a bonus child? In other words, you have your kids that have grown all the way up, and now you've had another one very late in life. And about 6, 7, maybe even more women chimed in, and they started a conversation that you and I can't even relate to.
No, I couldn't relate to
But we're so happy to be the hosts of this party where this little group has gone off and is having their own conversation. Yep. That's wonderful.
They're my heroes, by the way. I cannot imagine in my 40s or 50s having a baby, but I say, God, love you.
Way to stay young, though.
Yeah, way to stay young and give you energy. You know what I mean? I think it's
for sure
great for people who decide to do that. A lot of times it's in second marriages as well. And so, they're starting over. So I love that. One thing that definitely is more that I didn't see coming, only because how could you, is all the health maintenance things you have to do starting over 50. It's annoying, but you have to do it, whether it's mammograms, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I hope everyone's out there at least doing that. Getting your colonoscopies, getting your routine blood work, getting physicals. Like when you're young, you go to the doctor when you have a sore throat. You know what I mean? Or a cold or a sinus infection.
It's symptomatic.
That's it. I mean, you don't sit there and go, oh, I need to do that. Now everything is, oh, I have this week. I have this next week. I have this in 3 weeks. Like you get into that doctor thing.
Yes. My GP just said to me the other visit I had, when was your bone density test? I said, I've never had a bone density test. Well, it's time for you to have one.
I had mine last week.
What the heck?
Yep.
Bone density.
Yep.
Never crossed my mind. You see like Sally Field in the commercials.
Right.
But I guess if you're old enough to know who Sally Field is, you need a bone density test.
Right, you need a bone density test. So that's a little annoying because you have to fit all these things into a schedule, and then you get anxiety waiting for results of these things when you normally wouldn't even think about them. Right. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not even in your thought process. So that's one thing over 50, for me is I could do without, but
what we all can agree on though, is we'd rather be here than not.
Yes.
So, is there anything we've left out off the list that we have to squeeze into this episode, which is one of our longer episodes, which is fantastic because I'm not wanted in surgery right now. Nobody's calling my phone looking for me. I can sit here and chat all day.
I mean, I think the last thing for me is I created a peaceful home environment. And the reason why I say that's important, I think when you have kids running around and there's so much chaos going on in your life, that when you hit over 50 and you become an empty nester, you find a way to make your home a peaceful space for yourself and your husband, or just for yourself if you are single, widowed, whatever it may be. And I think I finally got to that place where when I get home at the end of the day, I just feel like someone takes 2 bricks off my shoulders at the door, take my shoes off. And, I have created that peaceful, relaxing environment. And I cannot stress how much I think that's so important, not just because I'm a professional organizer, but just in general for creating a peaceful existence.
You might have things that are in your life that you don't even know are giving you that chaotic feeling. You really might not. And that's where somebody like a professional organizer comes into play. I don't want to jump on that and make it sound like that was all leading up to that. I just feel that way because I've had you in my home where you're like, I'm looking at that and it's stressing me out. I can imagine what it's doing to you. So yes, you're right. There is certainly something that we deserve when we are 50 and over, and that is to come home to peace.
God, Yes.
If there's nothing else we deserve in our life, it's to have a place to escape to.
Right.
That is our own home.
Exactly.
Well, everybody, this has been a lot of fun.
So much fun.
We hope that you loved it. If you did, and you could leave us a review or 5 stars, that does little algorithmic things like helps others to find us. If you have a comment, please join our little group. It's called Uncluttered and Unfiltered Ladies Only. It's a Facebook group. You'll apply to join, but we will let you in as soon as we see you are who you say you are. And then once you're in, you'll be getting access to all of our surveys. And anytime we have funny memes, you know, a lot of ladies are posting things on their own.
Yes.
So please do join that. So I think that's about it. And there's the way to leave us a voicemail, which we absolutely, hearing your voice, that just, we couldn't ask for anything better than that. We love hearing your voices.
And we also love hearing any kind of feedback
and
topics. So if you have something you want to hear us talk about for ladies over 50, leave us a message, you know, leave a voicemail, whatever you want to do. We're on Instagram. You can DM us.
We're the oldest people on TikTok.
Yeah, definitely.
We're on YouTube, all of the things. In fact, this podcast is on YouTube. So if you want to see me wiping my nose furiously throughout this whole thing, and Christine and I kind of dressed very in our comfort clothes today. So there's that as well. But in the meantime, remember, with all things, whether it's, you know, something going on in the background that's keeping you up at night, or whether it's something that's as simple as, you know, purging your house so you can have that peaceful living space. Once again, you can let it go.
And don't look back.